Hi, welcome to Victoria Knits. I'm Victoria, and I am back at Little Bitterroot Lake. It's looking really pretty today. I don't know, I always have high expectations of what I want to show on my podcast. I feel like I've shown some really pretty country, and I always want to step it up a notch, but yeah, that's not always possible. Anyway, today is Christmas Day. Yes, believe it or not, it's in the afternoon, and our Christmas is over. We had a little bit of this.
Whoa! Is that a...
And we had a little bit of that.
For me, it's for me.
Yeah.
It's for
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
And it was really fun. But first, we cut down a Christmas tree much earlier this month.
My dear. Come on. You're hiding too.
I am.
And they're hiding too.
Yep.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Playing in the snow?
Yeah.
How about... Did you climb a mountain?
Yeah.
Wow. You're a stud, huh?
How do you like the Christmas tree, Russell?
That one.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Is it big enough?
Big enough.
It was a lot of fun. Russell was very enthusiastic. So let's get to a little knitting. I finished Iman's Porthos socks. That's a free pattern on Ravelry. I used size 1 needles and I cast on 64 stitches. I did them toe up with a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And the yarn is Patton's Croy Cadet Colors. I really love the way these socks worked out. I hear that Iman is feeling much better. Hi, Iman. So I'm really happy to hear that. And I hope those socks fit you really well. And yes, I am wearing my Christmas sweater today. Let's see if I can show it to you a little bit without tripping myself. I knit this last year. It's a modified flax sweater. Way too big for me, but I don't mind. It's comfy, it's cute, it's Christmas, right? It's been a busy month. I took a trip to Columbia Falls with my friend Pirio, and we visited a yarn store there called Brave Dog Knits. And you know how it is when you visit a yarn store. Sometimes you don't intend to buy yarn, but it's pretty hard not to, right? So I bought 2 skeins of Fiber Seed Sprout DK in the Peacock colorway, and I made a cowl out of it. The owner of that shop was super nice. She was so friendly. As you can tell, the shop was just full of wonderful yarn. She was afraid it felt a little claustrophobic, but I told her it didn't feel claustrophobic at all. You could only take like a step at a time before you had to stop and just look around at more yarn. There was so much pretty yarn there. I loved it. It was really fun. Pirio bought at least 1 skein of yarn, which she hadn't intended to buy either. But anyway, so the owner saw me looking at that yarn, and she recommended, she had a sample of the Depth cowl there, and I'll put who it's by at the bottom. It's a paid pattern on Ravelry. So believe it or not, this cowl takes 2 skeins of that yarn. So this is basically a $40 cowl, which, you know, I thought it was a bit pricey, but don't you love how that turns out? That's really pretty. Now I have to tell you, because if I don't, my family will never forgive me. I had to restart this thing, I think 5 times to get it right. She gives good instructions in the pattern, but it still threw me. But I got it. And I tell you, the first, I think I posted on the pattern the first time that I was having trouble with it, and the writer of the pattern, the pattern creator, messaged me and suggested I do something else, and she was very nice, and she encouraged me, and she said, "You can do this." And because I was about ready to give up, my family would tell you there was a lot of frustration going on in my knitting chair. But I got it. I actually got it. I modified it a little bit from the suggestions of other people who have knit this, and I did it with a cast on. What's the word I'm trying to use? With the cast on that keeps the stitches live, so you can. So then I just kitchenered it together at the end. Anyway, it's a gorgeous cowl. I'm very glad I got it done. I think it's really pretty. I think it's really clever the way she created this pattern for this specific yarn so that it works this way. And I left instructions on my Ravelry page, and on Ravelry I am Victoria Jean. On Instagram I am Victoria Jean W, if you're looking for me. But I did leave some notes. I don't want to give away too much because it is a paid pattern. But it is doable. It is doable. And, you know, if you tried it, maybe you'd get it right away. I did not get it right away. It took me a while. But I'm glad I kept at it. It's such a pretty cowl. And it's so thick. And I love the colors. It was really hard to pick which color because there were a lot of really pretty colors there. The other yarn that caught my eye there, she had a lot of Montana-made yarn, which I just love. Who doesn't love local yarn at their local yarn store? And Columbia Falls is fairly local to me. I mean, it's 20 miles from our house to Kalispell, and then from Kalispell, Columbia Falls, I guess it might be another 20 miles. It's not terrible. Purio and I had lunch that day, pretty much right next to the yarn shop, and it was really fun. The lunch was great. But I had to buy this this yarn, which is an alpaca yarn, and it's from a place called Rackapaca Ranch, and it's just 10 miles down the road from me. And here's what sold me on it. This yarn, they have the pictures of the alpaca on them. This is Consuela and Buster. Now, how could you not buy that, right? That is the cutest little thing. It totally sold me. Totally sold me. You put a picture of the animal on there, you've got me. And it is very pretty yarn. You can see the halo on it. I don't know what I'm going to make with it, but gosh, is that pretty. And it's really soft. It's Buster and Consuela. As you can tell, I'm very amused by that. That's really cute. That's a good marketing ploy, right? That got me. That's really cute. It was hard to pick out which one to get, but this is the one I ended up with, and I'm really glad I went there. Purio and I had a great time. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. You may not know that my daughter and her family are living with us at the moment. So that's why my grandsons are with me a lot. So we tried to fit in some Christmassy things this month. And one thing we did was we went to the town of Whitefish, which is about 35 miles from our house. They had a Christmas stroll night, and they were having lots of little activities. But we saw fire dancers, and we saw a tree lighting. They had fire pits around, and one of the funniest things we saw was as we went by one of the breweries, we noticed a poster for awkward family photos with Santa. So my daughter and her husband took the two boys up there and did that. It was really cute. Kim and I stayed in the bar and or the downstairs part, and we took care of the stroller and watched all the crowds going by. And everybody was all dressed up in these crazy costumes. We saw a penguin. We saw somebody dressed as a penguin walk by. I guess because it's a big deal in Whitefish, and people really enjoy dressing up and having their family photos taken with Santa. It was really cute and it was really fun. We did not stay for the main event Santa to show up because we were all freezing, and the boys were, they were wrapped up, but it was still really cold. So we left a little early, but it was a lot of fun. So if you watched my podcast last month, you'll know I've been working on a Flaxlight Christmas sweater for myself, and I wanted to have, anyway, this is how far I've gotten on it. I wanted to have one sleeve done for today, but I haven't made it that far. Now this, I'll tell you the colorways. It's been going okay, and I'll tell you my problem with it. This colorway is by Leading Man Fiber Arts, and it is I'll Meet You by the Mistletoe. Yes, I'll Meet You by the Mistletoe. This bottom one, which is so pretty, is Jingle Joy by Hannah Made It. I love that colorway. Isn't that gorgeous? It just screams Christmas to me, and peppermints. I just really think that's pretty. So this is the green colorway is the one that I dyed with green coloring and candy sprinkles. You can see that on one of my former podcasts. I talked about that. And then this is the one I dyed that I wanted to look like a candy cane stripe. Okay, so I'm happy with this part. I think it turned out really nicely. I am not so happy with how it turned out on the sleeve. So I did a different way of rolling it up, of dyeing the yarn for the sleeve. But anyway, it's not turning out great. It's pooling. So over here it's striping, but over here it's pooling. Obviously, I didn't have that figured out correctly. I'm not a professional dyer. That's the out I will give myself. So I'm not thrilled with it. I'm going to continue on with it. You might also remember, if you've watched my podcast before, I complained because my whites turned pink on the smaller ball, and you might be able to see that difference on here. I'm not sure. It's not as obvious as I thought it would be, so it doesn't bother me so much. I do need to put quite a bit of striping on here for this sleeve, and I didn't leave myself enough on that small ball. I think I only left myself 25 grams, which is not going to be enough to do both sleeves in this kind of a length that I would need to do it in. So I have some of this left over, and I may end up using it, the stuff I dyed for the big sweater. I may end up using that on the other sleeve and just say the hell with it and see what happens. That may be what happens. This sweater's for myself, so I'm okay with it. I took a risk. I dyed this yarn myself. I striped it myself, and I thought I could. My goal was to get the sleeve to match the body of the sweater, and that is not happening. But you win some and you lose some, right? This was not quite a winner. It is really getting pretty out here. I didn't expect this much sunshine today, and I'm pretty excited by it because it makes the lake look really, really nice, and it is a gorgeous little lake. So the next event my daughter and her family and Kim and I, my husband and I, Kim, went to was the community dinner. Our local volunteer fire department puts on a community dinner every year, and it's free to everyone that shows up. You can donate money if you want, but they just like to make sure that everyone has at least one nice meal around the holidays. So we attended that. We try to go there every year because it's fun and we donate money. But we had a lot of fun. Russell did better with that Santa this time. They managed to get at least one smile out of him. He's pretty much in the stranger danger 2.5-year-old zone. So he takes, it takes quite a bit for him to warm up to anybody. But the community dinner was really fun.
Christmas without you, he's so blue, just thinking about you. Decorations are bright on a green Christmas tree. The same day. Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell, jingle bell ring. Jingle bell, precious and fun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell.
Go back to some genie. Could you put it on one thing? What?
I also want to show a picture. I got Nico's little Christmas sweater finished. That is a modified flax sweater that I made for him for Christmas. He's swimming in it, but it looks really cute on him, and I'm sure he'll be able to wear it next year too. So another thing I got finished were my honeybee dance socks. The pattern is by Helen Stewart. It's a paid pattern on Ravelry. I really like the way they turned out. The main yarn is the Naughty List by Hannah Made It. It's lovely. Let's get a little close-up of that. So pretty. I really like that pattern. As I said before, it has some cabling every other row. This one I did with a green heel and a red toe. I really like these socks. I think they turned out really nice. The top, I held the yarn double. I first tried doing the cuff of the socks in knit 2 red and then purl 2 green, and then when I got to the end of that and that didn't stretch at all, I was like, well, that wasn't the brightest idea, was it? But I like these socks. Would I knit this pattern again? Maybe. It took a lot of focus for me to get this done. It's hard to knit with little kids in the house, but I like the way these turned out. It's a nice pattern. And, the pattern is only on the front. So, obviously, it's stockinette on the back. So, I shouldn't be whining so much is what I'm trying to say. Shouldn't whine quite as much about those. But my goal is, and a lot of people have done this, but I want to do this too. So I have three Christmas socks now. One of them is dirty, but you've seen it before. I dyed it. I dyed it myself, and maybe I'll stick a picture in here. But I went out and got this little Christmas box from Joann's the other day. It was on sale at Joann's, 75% off. And so I have one pair in here, and I plan on eventually adding more. And I'd like to have a pair of socks for every day up to Christmas. Well, for the month of December. 25 pairs of Christmas socks is my goal. That'd be fun to do. It's not going to happen this year because, I got way too much knitting to do, and I get way too distracted to get that done. But I have a box for them now. Another thing we did, that my daughter did with Russell this year was she did a little Santa Advent calendar. She went to Kmart and got the supplies for that and drew it up herself. And the idea was to try to help Russell realize how many days there were until Christmas. But you can imagine how hard that is for a 2.5-year-old to grasp. But he really enjoyed sticking those little cotton balls on Santa every day.
We'll come check him out.
Okay.
Here.
Thank
You're welcome. You're gonna put it on the 12, right? Can you say 12?
12.
12. All right.
Huh.
We're almost there, bud.
Mother. I love Christmas.
Huh?
I love Christmas.
You love Christmas? It's chilly out here. It's about 29, 30 degrees, but it's pretty cold. So I'm going to give you a little slightly different view of the lake, and we're getting a little more sunshine, so that's nicer. I wanted to talk about, I started the knit season scarf. I had mentioned this on one of my podcasts before. It's a double knit scarf. Yeah, this has been giving me fits. So when people say double knitting is easy, and I bet I have said that before, it can be easy, but it's not easy if you overthink it. Just FYI. So I started this on a size I cast it on a size 1. I did a cable cast on. I switched to size 2 needles. Now I'm going to show you what that looked like. I wasn't thrilled with it. I thought it was too loose. Also, I need to mention, I'll fess up, I had to restart this quite a few times because I don't know what was wrong with me, but I could not figure out the double knitting technique. What I finally did was, on this pattern, she has it written out very clearly what you need to do for each square, because each square requires 2 stitches. Each square represents 2 stitches. Now, I don't want to give away the pattern because, you know, it's a paid pattern, but she gives very good instructions on what to do for that. I had to write those down on a piece of paper and keep it in front of me for quite a while. Now I'm getting better at it. I think I have the technique down, but I was not thrilled with what I was getting. I thought it was way too loose. So I cast it on again. I ripped it all out. Well, I didn't get that far. I cast it on again with a size 0 needle, and now I'm working on a size 1. And let's see if you think it looks any better. I still think it looks a little loose. But you know what? I'm going with it because I'm not starting over again. So this is what I have now. It still looks a little loose to me, like, you know, like it's just not tight. I am a loose knitter, and that's why I went down a needle size. But I'm not going to go down another needle size and start over. So I have one section finished. This is one section from the scarf. You know how many more I have? I have 13 more sections. 13 more sections for half the scarf. And then you repeat them all the way down the other side. So yeah, there's a lot coming. There's a lot coming. And I will write the yarn. I'll put the yarn names down that I'm using. It's going to be pretty. I think I'm going to be very happy with it. But yeah, it's taken a toll. I'll put it that way. It's taking its toll on me. Double knitting can be easy, but it can really trip you up too. What got me going on that scarf, I'd had the yarn for a long time, was at the new knitting group I started going to at Kalispell Brewery. A gal wore the scarf called There and Back Again Story Scarf. She wore that. Someone had actually gifted it to her, which is unreal to me, because that's quite the gift. But she wore that, and I saw that, and I thought, that's beautiful. I really need to get going on mine. And the last knitting group, the last time they had the knitting group for December, Vanessa and I went to it at Kalispell Brewery, and it was really fun. Vanessa, my daughter, she likes to draw, so we went. We had dinner out. It was a really nice ladies' night out for us. We met another knitter there called Iris. She was down from Alaska. She was visiting her grandmother here. It was really nice to talk to her and swap some knitting stories and just some life in general stories. That was really nice. The last knitting thing I've been working on, well, not working on, actually finished it, is this big old cow. And I used the latest Knit Pick yarn for this, and I really like it. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice, cozy cowl? So this yarn is what the heck is this? This the pattern is Breaks in the Lines cowl, and this came with the Knit Crate yarn. This pattern, they sent this along. This is the yarn is Vitellana, maybe Vitellana. And the colorway is Blue Spruce. I knit this on size 17 needles. I haven't used that size in a long time, and I wasn't even sure I had that size, but my friend Carol has given me so many Knit Pick needles, which is really great. Hi, Carol, and thank you for that I had the right size needles for this. So I'm going to gift this to my daughter Vanessa. This will be for her. She was interested in some another bulky looking cowl I had. She said, I didn't know you knit with big bulky yarn, and by that I think she meant I really like it. So she gets this one. I'm going to keep it on because it's chilly out here. So I want to say hi to everybody who watches. Thank you so much. I got a Christmas card from Sarah at Saltbox Knits. Thank you so much. I got one from Linda at Joey's Scarf Podcast. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. I also got one from a viewer, Sandra, in Washington State. Thanks so much for your pretty card, Sandra. That was really nice of you. So I did make, obviously I made multiple yarn purchases, but a recent one I got was this Mint Rain yarn. This is from Mint Rain, and it's called Trekkie. Isn't that pretty? For Star Trek. I got this one for the Nerd Knit Along that Darcy of the Darcy Wonker String and Paper podcast is going to be starting in January. I thought this was really pretty. I love me some Star Trek. So that'll be really nice. Speaking of Darcy, she recommended this Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich, and I just finished it. It was really fun. It's kind of an adult Harry Potter thing. Another Harry Potter thing. I really enjoyed it. I will go to the library and see if I can find some more in this series. I thought what was interesting was when I got this book through Amazon, used, and when it came in the mail, it had this little note in it. And I thought don't you just love these little personal things? This note's not to me. It's not to me. But here's what the note says. The other two you requested. So I'm assuming this person sent someone 2 books they requested. The other 2 you requested, but I enjoyed this one and thought you might too. It's an unusual mix of crime and fantasy set in a very convincing real London. Try it. And it's signed Mary. I don't know. I wish I knew who Mary was, and I wish I knew who she sent this to. I thought that's pretty interesting. I also finished the 2 first in this series of the Thursday Next mystery novels. I don't know if you can call them mystery novels. They're kind of fantasy too, and they're very Harry Potterish also. Now, I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I know a lot of people are gasping right now. I did enjoy the Harry Potter movies. I did not enjoy the books so much. Okay, so they are for children, right? They're for, young adult children. And so I get that. The story, I love the story. I love the idea. I love the setting. But the books did not thrill me. I'll put it that way. I thought the movies were fun to watch. And so I recommend that. But the Harry Potter, type of story, both of these are, and they were really fun, and I would recommend them. Also, like a lot of people who have jumped on that Knit Crate bandwagon, in the last box they sent out, everybody got this cute little pin. This cute little pin with the skein yarn and the 2 knitting needles. Isn't that sweet? I'm keeping my favorite pins on this little knitting bag that my niece Eva sent me. Now, I don't think she sent it to me to knit with. I think she thought it was going to make a cute purse for me, but it has turned into one of my favorite project bags, mostly because it's from her, also because it has a drawstring and it's the perfect size for sock knitting, which I like to do a lot of. So I have a pin from the Yarn and I. Hi, Cappy. I have this little Canadian pin, which I got from my pen pal Patty in Canada. Hi, Patty. I also got this one from Patty in Canada. This one from Guernsey is from Jan. Hi, Jan. And I have your stocking up this year, too. And then my most recent one I ordered was from Allie at Little Drops of Wonderful, and it's this sweet little pin right there. Isn't that nice? Really cute. Thanks, Allie. I love that little pin. I showed it to my daughter as soon as I got it the other day, and it got a big smile from her too. And I've been watching some Christmas Vlogmas. There's so many. It's impossible to keep up with them, but they've been fun to watch. I've really enjoyed yours, Linda, from Joy's Scarf. And Karen at the SSK Yarners podcast has done a couple of Christmas podcasts lately. She's done a really nice job. I've picked up, I had to stop and go buy like 3 patterns the other day when I was watching you. So thank you for that. Another thing she did, which I thought was really sweet, was she gave herself an advent calendar this year. And what I mean by that is she bought herself something every day in December, probably the 1st through the 25th or whatever. She limited the amount of money she was going to spend, but she had a lot of fun doing it. And I recommend you watch her latest podcast to see her explanation of that. And I think it was really cute, and I think it was a really great idea. And with that in mind, I took my older grandson Russell, Kim and I took him just to Joann's the other day because we wanted him to be able to buy presents for his mom and dad and his little brother. And I knew Joann's stuff would all be on sale. So we found 3 things for them, which were really cute for him to gift to them. And he really enjoyed doing that. But while I was there, I saw this cute little ornament. And I thought of you, Karen, and I thought, I'm going to buy this for myself because it's super cute. I'm going to change the little ribbon, and I'll probably do a little something out of yarn to hang it from the tree. But I thought that was really cute, and in the spirit of the Advent calendar thing, I thought it was really nice. And so thanks for that suggestion, and I think it's great. So I think that's it for now. I know it's been a while since my last podcast. But, you know, it's the month of Christmas. There was a lot going on, and I needed to get some knitting done before I wanted to do another podcast, so I managed to do that. It's getting pretty chilly out here. My feet are getting cold. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. I hope you saw something you liked. If you did, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already. And I will be seeing you around. The Off the Porch segment is to come. And before that, I will show you the debacle we had with the gingerbread house that Grammy, myself, could not seem to read the instructions correctly. So I kind of botched that whole thing. As I said, win some, lose some, right? Goodbye from Montana. See you next time. Thanks for watching. You're helping, huh?
Open.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that?
That's gingerbread.
Can I just
Yep. Russell, what are you doing?
I'm doing sprinkling. We're doing it.
You are doing it. You're doing a great job, Russell.
We're doing it.